Bruce is often called the father of SEO and for good reason. He founded Bruce Clay Inc. back in 1996. Yes, you heard it right. 1996.
SEO will die when Google stops changing things and all of your competition has died. Because if you want to be in AI, you better be in the top dozen search results. Right? AI is using search. So instead of optimizing horizontally, we're optimizing vertically. So I got it down to where I can optimize any of the 40 features on a Google search result page.
Welcome to the Agency Insider Show. I am your host, Navneet Kaushal. Today we have a true pioneer and the legend in the world of digital marketing, Bruce Clay. Bruce is often called the father of SEO and for good reason. He founded Bruce Clay Inc. back in 1996. Yes, you heard it right. 1996. And has shaped the SEO industry for nearly 3 decades. And also contributes to lead innovation in search, content, and AI-driven marketing. Bruce, welcome to the show, and it's actually an honor to have you.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm pleased to be here.
Now, let's talk about the origin of SEO and, of course, your journey. You've been in this game for over 25 years, almost 30 years. Yeah, almost, right. Long before Google was a household name. Let's kick off with a bit of a time capsule. So now, what inspired you to launch Bruce Clay Inc. back in the 90s? What was the opportunity you saw?
Well, since it was 3 years before Google, there was Excite, AltaVista, InfoSeek, a few of them. My background is I have a degree in math and computer science and an MBA, and I wanted something that was a business level thing, but I wanted something that also had programming feel to it. And along comes this search thing. In 1996, it was just getting going, and there weren't a lot of there were websites, but there weren't that many,
right?
Like 50,000 maybe.
Wow.
And that's not a lot compared to today. And so I started doing it. I programmed up a tool. I did this, I did that. I was able to get sites ranked. People called me and hired me, and then it just grew. Yeah, it was a lot of fun back then. And there was hardly any spamming. That was the cool part, because there was no Google, there was no page rank, so people didn't have to go out and try to game the system. And you just earned it, and people linked to you because you were worth linking to, and it was a lot cleaner until Google came on the scene. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. The first few years were wild, wild west kind of thing. Then when Google came out, everybody started trying to game it. And we chose not to go there because I felt that was something that Google would fight.
Right.
If you're doing it right, Google isn't going to fight you. It's if you're doing it wrong, they're going to protect themselves. Right. So I didn't want to get in the crosshairs of Google. So I played white hat all the way through. And I even avoided doing a lot of link development. I felt that we ended up with a lot of brands, very large companies, and they almost always had enough links that I didn't have to worry about it.
Right.
So that worked out real well. Fast forward 10 years and there's conferences and everybody's learning how to do it. But there weren't that many SEOs that knew what they were doing. Agencies were still doing well. Fast forward another 10 to 15 years, that's like pre-COVID. A lot of companies had SEOs. And the market sort of shifted to be heavy tool oriented. People would go to conferences in the beginning and hire agencies. Now they go to conferences and subscribe to tools. And education became conferences, and then along comes COVID, and all the conferences shut down.
Right.
Even I was teaching a classroom course on SEO, and of course, COVID ended that. Fortunately, I have some pretty nice URLs. I have SEOtraining.com. So I built it up as an online course, and then I have SEO tools. I propagated up a new version of the tools, and we've done well. Then along comes AI. And AI, of course, is somewhat of a disturbance in the force. We have a lot of people guessing as to what you do, and it's sort of the blind leading the blind.
Yes.
I mean, I read all the time about how somebody says, this is what you do to get ranked in AIO, and it's wrong, and everybody's following them, and it gets to be a problem after a while. So AI is a brand new start. Just like SEO at the beginning was really fun and exciting, and you were inventing and, running labs and discovering and fixing and moving on. That's where we are with AI right now. It's a lot of fun.
Yes. You said that of course, you told the landscape how it was. Now, how exactly did you carve your path in an industry that didn't existed at that time? Like, I mean, how did you came up with the industry which didn't exist? Is something which amuses.
Prior to getting into this, I had, we all have our prior lifetimes, right?
Yes, we all assume.
Worked in Silicon Valley for mainframe companies, and my area was optimization. I worked for the company that had the fastest mainframe on the market, faster than IBM's, and it was always a race. So I was in there optimizing operating systems and doing a lot of optimization. Then after that, I went to Acer, and I was the VP general manager of their US networking division. And then I decided that the internet was going to be fun, and I wanted to do consulting. That's how I created Bruce Clay. I mean, that's what consultants do. You name it after yourself. I was just going to be a consultant. And it took on a life of its own. But I was doing optimization. And so when I got into doing it on basically on the internet, using search engines, I decided it was search engine optimization. That's what I do. Search engines and optimization seem to go together. So I started using the term. Others started using the term. It's confusing as to who was first, or whether they were talking about optimizing a search engine or doing what we do now. And the interesting thing is, in the beginning, every search engine was just 10 blue links. It was just the results. You do a search, you get results. Pre-advertising, it was just 10 blue links. But where does it actually say that search engine optimization is only organic? When it started, all there was organic, but it was really the optimization of anything on that SERP to get traffic. But, because there's pay-per-click and there's this and there's that, and there's all these 40-some features that Google can put up on a search page, it really has become more of a, it's focused, SEO has been focused on organic. And I think because there is pay-per-click. Right. And if there were no pay-per-click, then there'd be SEO, and SEO would just be expanding. And it's a different kind of thing. But yeah, I decided to do it, and I got good at it really fast. The way it became popular, really popular, was Danny Sullivan, who
Search engine.
Search Engine Watch, yes, and SES Strategies Conference, the Search Engine Strategies conferences. When I attended the first one, he invited in all the big shots, if you will, the people that were driving SEO, right? All of us, all 8 of us sat at one table. And had there been a natural disaster, the industry would have been wiped out. It would have been that easy. But it was a lot of fun. And so I spoke a lot. I wrote a lot. I gave away a lot of everything we did. I gave away. And the philosophy at the time was, I'm going to give it away until you surrender. People are convinced I know what I'm talking about. They hire me.
Right.
It worked. I didn't have to do a lot of anything other than get myself ranked. And I did. Right. And so we did that, and it just took off. I'd give Danny Sullivan the lion's share of how did SEO become an industry.
Right.
I did a lot of promotion of it, but Danny was really the one that helped make it an industry, and we all of us, owe him a lot.
Yes.
It really did work out real well. And as you know, Search Engine Strategies as a conference got pretty big and powerful.
Yes.
And then it was bought and logically went away almost. And then he started up Search Marketing Expo.
Yes.
It was interesting. He announced that he's with Search Marketing Expo. And the first thing I did is pick up the phone, call, and became their very first sponsor. I bought the very first booth. I was the very first sponsor, founding sponsor kind of thing. And that was 15 years ago?
I think more. Right.
Something like that. And so the industry has grown a lot. I think conferences really, as an education source, was really significant. And so there's a difference between, hi, I'm publishing a lot and I'm talking about it a lot and I'm speaking a lot, and an organization like a conference that brings people in to an environment that's educational and promotional. And so the industry kind of shifted there in the middle. But in the early days, I just made a point of, being places and writing places. I posted in newsletters. I wrote blog posts. I mean, it was really before blogs, but I was still publishing a newsletter. Newsletters were popular then.
Yes.
And I had actually started a podcast, SEM Synergy, did 150 shows, and but it turned out at the time, that was many years ago, it turned out it wasn't as productive from a marketing point of view as conferences.
Right.
And so publishing became more my go-to, if you will. So, but that's how SEO got going. It was between conferences and people who publish and talk about it and make it happen. I think that is how you make your money. Yes. Well, PubCon, Brett started that. He also had Webmaster World.
Yes.
Which was the forum that went with it. So he had a good audience to bring into that conference. Yes. It has a tendency to be technical, and it still does a lot of stuff in pubs. Yes. The publishers conference was really a pub conference. Right. And but Brett's doing well. He's in Austin, so.
Right. I remember you also had SEO tool certify. You had an SEO tool. I remember subscribing and using it. It was fun that time. Does that still exist?
Yes. The SEO tool set, the way I did it is I developed the tools, and I didn't want to invent tools that other people already had. So I focused on doing tools that nobody had. I wish I had a tool to do this, so I made one. And then I just packaged it together, a whole group of a lot of tools,
Yes, they will.
into the SEO tool set. And
Yes,
I own SEOtools.com,
right.
which is a pretty nice URL. And
Yes.
so that's where the tool set lives now.
Okay.
So it's but the tools in the very beginning, there were no tools. I mean, none. There were no tools. So I started writing some of the very first tools that were out there. And my background is as a programmer, so I really liked it. And so we programmed up, 20 tools and put it in the tool set.
Yes.
But the intent was not to reinvent somebody else's tool.
Right.
The intent was to do the things that nobody else is doing.
Okay.
And so that had actually given us a lot of power when we
Yeah,
can look at something and find something that nobody else knew about.
I remember it was fun and very useful. We have used your tool, so yes, we go a long way, of course. Now, so you work with Fortune 500 and bootstrap brands alike. What consistent SEO mistakes do you still see today?
Well, it's kind of interesting. The larger the company, the harder it is to implement. So in a large company, it has the standard problem of I give it to them to implement, and it takes months sometimes to actually implement what we give them. In the smaller companies, they're faster. But in the large companies, they're slower. The thing is, where do they make their mistakes? They don't typically, unless they're spamming, they don't usually make a lot of mistakes, especially if they have an SEO that guides them. Where they don't do it right is they don't pay attention to redirects, or they don't pay attention, they don't dot the I and cross the T. They do a partial implementation. A big part of it, and by the way, one of the things we did early on is if you became one of my clients, part of the contract was you had to take my SEO course. I gave it to you. It was free, but you actually had to come and take my course. And what that did is it caused everybody to understand why we do things. Right. Initially, one of the problems was every time we'd talk to a client, they would ask us, well, why? Well, why? And it really got, in some cases, somewhat argumentative. And after they had taken the course, they'll know why. So, and we still do that to this day. But you have a lot of people that didn't understand implementation. I still, at the small end, have the opposite problem, that we work with the marketing department. Mm-hmm. And while it's a small company and they may be able to move faster, they don't understand it. Even with training, there's only one person and they're doing everything. Right. So the smaller firms are harder. And what would be a good sized small firm, like a law firm has the money to do it, but they're focused on case law and their business. Right. And this computer thing is just, they kind of do it. So across the board, it's an implementation is the biggest problem. Now that's just at the client level. You also have competition. And the competition doesn't always play by the rules. And so you'll rank in the morning and at noon you don't rank. because the volatility of the search results.
Right.
And most people, by the way, their failure at a search result is they don't understand it's like the stock market. Your ranking is at the moment that monitor ran. An hour later, it could be entirely different. Right?
Specifically this location and so many things coming in as well, right?
Right. And then, so you have your competition, you have yourself, and then you have the search engine. And then Google is recently saying they change the algorithm 5,000 times a year, right? And even if you say, okay, that's 12 times a day, you have to know that half of them are fixing what they broke yesterday, right? But it's still a lot. And, I'm fond of saying that SEO will die when Google stops changing things and all of your competition has died. Until then, every day it's a new battle. Every Monday it's a new industry. And now there's, not 100 variables, there's 300 variables. And then you throw in AI. And it has AI. I will admit, AI has caused a disturbance in the force. It has, unfortunately, confused a vast majority of the SEOs. That's been a problem.
Yep. We have a whole session dedicated to the AI, which we will be coming back, and which actually is now. So how have you seen SEO industry evolve over the past almost 30 years? And what are the biggest changes you have witnessed in terms of technology, strategy, and most importantly, client expectations?
Okay, so clearly the technology has altered because Google has gone to a very high 300 plus element index, the algorithm in dealing with it, AI in dealing with that, and then you have your intangibles like EEAT and usability and those kinds of things. So it's a very deep, compared to on the first days, you just put a keyword in there, right, and you win. Now it's very, very, very much more complex. And one of the other problems that I think we as an industry face is the messages from Google. So Google has 300 variables. They have people working on logically systems within there. So I'm responsible for these 30 variables.
Okay.
Somebody else is responsible for those other variables. If I say to you, is it important to get rid of 404s? This system may say, we don't care about 404s. This other system may say, we care about trust and quality. We care about 404s. So depending upon who you're talking to, you might get a different answer from Google. So Google tries not to give you too many answers because they don't want to contradict themselves. And that has led to a lot of people guessing. A lot of guessing. And even if, like us, I figure out how it works, I have to retest it. Just because that's what worked last week doesn't mean it's what's going to work this week. And Barry Schwartz does a lot of newsletters and a lot of webinars and podcasts in his own. And one of the things that I've noticed is it's like every 10 days, there's a weather report saying, hi, something just was a disturbance, right? Everybody, everybody's talking about how they lost rankings or gained them, or the volatility is not what used to be there. In the very beginning, Google would do something called the Google Dance. The Google Dance was the hokey pokey. I mean, once a quarter or so, they put in a change. And if they don't like it, they took it out. and then they put in a new one, and then they took it out. And that was referred to as the Google dance. And Google actually had dances at the Googleplex. And yeah, Mountain View. And so, and for years, I would go and I'd get the t-shirt and, enjoy their food. But yeah, it was very less daily volatile, but the dance was a disturbance. Today, it's every day. Every morning, I could wake up and find my rankings impacted or not. And so, we pay a lot of attention to how things alter. Right. And my view is that all we can do, to the best of our ability to do that, is experiment and cope with it. I experiment on my own website a lot. I'll try something, especially now in the AI world. I'll try something and see what it does. And we're pretty good. We're pretty good at just about everything in reacting, right? We can react very, very quickly. But you see, that's why you have experts, because a novice wouldn't even know where to look. Right. So having a lot of experience really helps. But things are so volatile. And AI and I know I keep mentioning AI and you're going to get to it, but it really is.
Yes.
It is not like any other change that has hit search.
I would say it's most likely a game changer.
It is. And it is more revolutionary than evolutionary. Right? And a great many people don't know how to react. And I'd say probably 95% of the companies don't know how to react. They kind of think of SEO and AIO as being disjoint, separate. And the way it really works is if you want to be in AI, you better be in the top dozen search results.
Yes.
Right? AI is using search to handle the trust, to handle the spidering for the most part, to handle a lot of that, and then it's fed through. And Bing, for instance, if you're not in the top 12, you're nowhere in AI. So it turns out that SEO is probably more important than ever, because AI depends upon you being trusted by SEO.
Right.
And a great many people, if you're not in the top 2 pages for sure, you're nowhere. You're nowhere.
Now, of course, AI. Now we come to the AI part in the SEO. Now, so in your view, what are the most significant way AI is impacting SEO today?
Okay, so, and boy, I can give you some numbers even. The big problem that I think we've faced, but it's been gradual, is that Google is in the business of making money. And as a result, they keep putting things at the top of the search result page that if you click it, they make money. And they have become more focused on intent. Is it informational or transactional, right? But they put things at the top of the page so that they can maybe make more money.
Right.
And so that has had a dampening effect on SEO. The organic results have been pushed down pixel by pixel. They've been pushed down where they appear on the search result page. And Google, even in many cases, only shows 8, 7 organic results, no longer even showing 10. So the opportunity to make money with or traffic from people clicking on your organic listing has been dampened down because of the placement of organic results on the web page. Now with AIO taking 2/3 of the page, organic has been pushed further. So the statistics we have from 160 clients is that impressions is going up. I mean, it's continuing to grow. Impressions continue to go up. Our ranking, we're number 1 organically, and we're holding it, and impressions are going up, and our traffic is going down. So we just ran an analysis, and actually it was for the last 5 weeks of 160 clients and then some. And across all 160 clients, without any serious impact on ranking, they have had a 30% traffic drop.
Wow.
And that's a lot of industries because we're not in a vertical. We're finding statistics published by a great many people at 35% to 72%, in that range. So the impact of AI on SEO really is visibility. The search engine result page visibility is the number 1 issue I think SEOs are facing because they're being pushed down. Right. Now, by the way, that has created a problem in general. You see, many SEO companies do SEO and PPC and content, maybe some few other things. And what happened is these companies, when organic was pushed down, these are foundations of traffic foundations are SEO and PPC and content. So what people have done, including some rather outspoken people, Neil Patel as an example, search anywhere optimization.
Search optimization.
Search everywhere optimization. AIO SEO. I mean, everybody's coming up with their own names. But what in essence, what has happened is they haven't done more in SEO. They have chosen to go broader, and they're including social media, right? And optimization for TikTok, and optimization for YouTube and InfoSeek and Facebook and LinkedIn and etc. So they're moving to what would typically be higher in the funnel, top of funnel instead of middle, and they're going up in the funnel, but they're doing it horizontally by expanding the base. And I've taken a different approach. My belief is that if Google is going to push organic results down, something's taking its place.
Right.
So instead of optimizing horizontally, we're optimizing vertically. So I got it down to where I can optimize any of the 40 features on a Google search result page.
Wow.
So I went up and built, the concept is SERP, search engine result page visibility. So SERP visibility is that no matter where somebody looks, I want to be found. It isn't just organic. It isn't just pay-per-click, right? AIO is a foundation. It's in there. So I want to rank in AIO. And we've done a pretty good job of being able to do that. A lot. We're developing methodologies for optimizing every feature. And we have audits that we can run against every feature. Why are you not there? What do you have to change? How do you get there? We've got a 1,600 page cookbook on how to do the SERP features. I mean, we've spent energy on doing that. And so my belief is that the industry really has to focus on that search engine result page, because there'll always be one. No matter what's on it, there's always going to be a search engine result page. That's the future of SEO agencies, is to understand how to rank there. Can you go vertical and say, hi, I'm a YouTube agency? Well, you could, but how many different flavors are there? Right? It's going to take a while. Whereas if I can get you to rank, and everywhere they look on that search page, you're there, you win.
Absolutely.
So my approach is a little different from most. And we'll see. I mean, it's young. We'll see what happens.
All right. Now, many marketers now use AI tools to generate content, and I'm sure you also have one of your content tool as well. Now, where do you stand on that from a ranking and quality perspective?
Okay, so that's a very good question. I'm glad you asked it. We have a product called Pre-Writer, and the name tells you the answer. We believe that when you have a writer, the best writers are somewhat artists. The problem is they're good at writing and they're terrible at research. Right? They have writer's block, they have experience gaps, they don't want to spend the time analyzing the competition. They don't want to do that. They just want to be creative and write. So what we did is we said AI is a tool, not a solution. And we're going to make the best researcher there is for writers. So that's what Pre-Writer is. It's a research tool. It does, you can give me a keyword. It does all sorts of really exotic things. And it builds keyword lists and outlines and content briefs that a writer can take and finish. It has all that built into it. And it's, clearly AI. But as you pointed out, the other issue that you face is quality.
Yes.
Right? Now, while I truly believe that if I gave a writer something, they would finish it. So it would come out human. But there are lazy people in the world. And we write a pretty good article. So to that end, we created what we call the humanizer. And you run it out of chat, and you run it through a test tool, and it says it's 86% AI. Those tools exist all over the place.
Yes.
And then we run it through our humanizer, and it's typically under 2% AI.
Wow.
Often 100% human. So we created a humanizer, and then we took our humanizer and integrated it in all our tools. So that what we get out of Pre-Writer comes out, at least it's human-ish. And then you give it to your writer for finishing. See, the way the process historically has been, somebody says, I need this keyword or article or theme or something. I need writing. And then the research stage would happen. And then the writing stage would happen. And then the copy editing stage would happen, because it's checks and balances. And then the SEO stage, and then you publish it. And that's the way we operate. We just happen to believe that you have to run the research tool unconditionally, or that writer is going to have gaps, right? They're not going to do a content gap analysis with your competition. That isn't what writing is, right? So we solve that problem. The problem I think we face as an industry is that while SEO is very concerned about the quality of the content, too many people are looking to save, and they're running a tool and then publishing it.
Right.
They don't humanize it. They just publish it. And I'm sure you know that Google has published, in the beginning, Google said, if it's machine generated, it's against their terms of service.
Right.
Then they changed that statement to be, it has to be usable. Right. So they kind of changed that statement. And now, and what happened is people thought that meant you could be AI generated. And it didn't. Usability means that you're bringing something new to the table.
Right.
And chat doesn't bring anything new. It just repackages old knowledge. So that turns out to be an issue. You have to have the writer to do the creative part, right? At least today. And yeah, but you have to go through the process. There's a whole process you have to go through. Next week, I'm presenting at SMX, and I have a presentation on that flow.
Okay.
But you analyze it, and you can get it pretty well organized and in a company. And in our case, it turns out, because we do complex content in my content team, we found that we could save more than half of our time creating content by letting the research be done thoroughly. Right. And then the writer finishes it.
Right. So there's a lot of fear among writers about AI automating them out of job. Now, what's your perspective on how writers and marketers should adapt to this reality?
Well, I think my personal view is I don't want the writers to be out of jobs. I think that's going to be difficult. There's already been some oscillation. Yes, I can do everything with AI. No, I can't do everything with AI. I can use AI for my customer service. Oh, I'm losing my clients. AI, again, is a tool, not a solution. So for writers, if you're thinking that you're going to displace the writers, my approach is no, you need your writers. Then you can just produce more.
Absolutely.
Right. The problem I think the world is facing is that AI is first tackling the simple things, right? The easier tasks.
Yes.
But everybody is talking about AI. So the payroll system is going to have AI built into it. And, every system in your company, manufacturing and doing schedules and things like that, AI is going to do, or at least be involved in and save time, meaning you don't need as many people. The problem, I think, is that before I can become a senior person at anything, I had to be a novice. And all the novice jobs are going away first.
Right.
There was a prediction, an actual speech that I saw that predicted unemployment will go over 20%. I mean, that's a crash.
Right.
Because AI can do all the basic jobs. So in a couple of years, there won't be any people really up to speed to do it. They'll be unemployed. They won't have an entry-level position if AI takes over. My personal view is AI shouldn't take over. I think we need to use it intelligently, but we should bring in the novice and have them learn how to use it.
Right.
right? I think that's the way it ought to be. But I think that it's going to grow too fast. So when you look at SEO, I can say use like pre-writer. I can use it to do the research,
Right.
but I can also point it at a website and do an analysis, right? I can easily go to right now. I can go to chat and I can say for company XYZ, perform a SWOT analysis, strength, weaknesses, opportunity, threats.
Right.
Tell me how to beat my next best competitor in this new topic area. Write the blog post for me. And it will. And it just will. And you could use an intern. You could then spend the time to train them on how to do it right and everything else. But I think that we're going to see a big disturbance where many of the things that an intern or a novice person would do is being done by AI.
Right.
And it's going to dampen that level of opportunity to learn, because there'll be fewer opportunities because of AI. Can AI displace everything? The current version of AI can solve puzzles in ways, I'm going to do the 47,000 combinations that might be the right answer. A human couldn't do it that fast.
Right.
You see these, it would take 1,000 years to do this calculation, and AI did it in, 12 seconds. I mean, you hear it. Is it going to displace people? Sure. The problem is that AI is not yet able to be creative. Now, some of the advanced AI is actually already creative. It wins at Go contests. Coming up, there was one example where it came up with a move that had never been done before. So it wasn't based on history. It wasn't based on, the model was a board in this position, I should do this. It invented a move.
Right.
And I think we're going to have a serious risk with AI. How do you use it for SEO? Analysis, helping, you integrate writing.
Yes.
That's where you go.
Right. And so what's one piece of advice you would give SEO trying to keep up with this fast evolving landscape?
Well, you have to continue to read a lot, and you have to experiment.
Okay.
And I mean, come up with something that you wish there was a tool for, and then figure out how to do it. I've been doing that for well over a year and a half, almost 2 years now, November. And I've invented a lot of scripts. I wrote all the basic scripts in Pre-Writer. Pre-Writer's 30 different tools. So it's got a lot of different things in it. So there's a lot of solutions. So think about what you can do. See, playing with chat, the advantage of that is you start thinking outside of the box. You think about things that you could do, and then you try them. And sometimes you think about things that would never work. And so I wrote them, and then they work. All right. I'll give you a real fast example. Most people are going to put in a keyword and say, write a 1,200 word article.
Right.
I say, take the keyword, look up the personas that might type that keyword in. Look up their pain points, and then extract those keywords and write an article that solves their pain. That's different from put in a keyword, get an article.
Right.
And I can tell it all sorts of interesting things to do. I can have it recursively improve its own writing. You write it, and then you test it. And as you test it, if it fails, correct it. It's self-improving its own content. And if you don't do that, by the way, that's a true statement. If you don't do that, what you get initially is like 100% AI.
Absolutely.
You have to have it recursively fix itself. You have to have it humanized. And then you still have to have voice, tone, compliance. You know, it's like having somebody somewhere remote city who knows nothing about what your company does write a blog post for you. That's what AI is.
Yes.
Right? And then you have to make it into something that fits in your website and it matches your mission, even your voice, your tone, your style, the way you would word it. Those are the things that are the writer's area. So you ought to really focus on being able to do that. We learned a lot. What we have right now is you can go to prewriter.ai and sign up. No credit card. You get 20 tokens. Play with it. So what we did is we put it out on sort of a limited release, limited 1,000 users, and they told us all the things they wanted improved. It's interesting. When we first did it, we gave too much information. We answered every question we thought they would ever ask. And it turns out that when the writers saw it, they were overloaded. We had to take data out. I mean, I wouldn't have thought that, you know? So you have to tune it for what the writer is going to care about and how they're going to view it. And can they do it? Yes, we can take a 4.5, 5 hour project down to 2. That's not bad. Just because we give them the right data at the right level. How AI is going to change SEO is mostly content, I believe. And then you're going to see it get stronger in the area of diagnostics. Those are the 2 areas that are going to be the first big changes.
Right. Now, with so many digital channels, paid ads, social media, influencer marketing, and of course, with search everywhere optimization, how do you position SEO alongside with them?
Well, SEO, as you know, is on-page, off-page, technical.
Right.
Those are the 3 general classifications. The technical being things like servers and redirects and, speed and
the
those kinds of
404, 301, right.
That's not going away. You still have to rank organically, and making something usable and logical is still a big part of the problem. And a vast majority of the people that create websites don't pay attention to most of the things you got to do as an SEO. So I'm finding that SEO as a demand is up. But I mean, it's broader. I mean, all the things I've got to do now there's a lot more. So it's broader. The big problem I think we're going to run into is people right now are sort of in a wait and see. They don't know exactly what it's going to look like for AIO or any of the others. There isn't a clear winner. We're doing some pretty advanced stuff. We're implementing something called Bedrock because we program our solution. This is not a group of prompts. This is an actual application. And I think that's going to be a game changer for a lot of the industry because it makes it so that one call I can deal with any LLM. It's so simple and powerful. and fast and cheaper. And so we're going to be able to do a lot going forward. I think you're going to see opportunities are going to open up. New applications are going to just fall from the heavens. But they're all going to be pretty limited prompts. You're not, I mean, my prompt page is something like 80 pages, 80 word pages long for all my prompts that I've written. And it's a bunch. So, yeah, you've got a lot of prompts.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the need for expert SEO versus journalistic agencies. Now, many companies think any marketing agencies can do SEO. Why is it so important to have a true SEO expert on board rather than relying on journalists or AI specialists?
Okay, so, well, first of all, anybody that says I'm an AI specialist better be an SEO specialist. Because if you're not ranking near the top, AI will not pay attention to you. So while I can say I know AI, my specialist is qualifying for AI to a great extent. If I can qualify, I'll show up. So we want to be able to understand that. The cool part, okay, so I'll give it to you in layers. 30 years ago, there were only 8 of us that knew how to do SEO.
Right.
We were in high demand. 30 years later, there's a lot of people that know how to do SEO. I've been running my company longer than many of the people have been born that are doing SEO, right? So there's a lot of people that know how to do SEO, and they're pretty good. But the difference is when you walk into a website, when a client comes to you, it's like walking into a room of smoking guns. Nothing is perfect, and everything is a little bit off. And an expert who has seen it before can say, I'm going to focus on that. Whereas somebody who's never seen it before is just going to fumble through the room on things that don't matter. So an expert is more of the ability to focus. It's like if you were to hire, unfortunately, a family member needs brain surgery.
Right.
Do you hire the best brain surgeon you can find or the cheapest?
Best, of course.
You don't care, right?
Right.
Well, that website can put you out of business if it loses everything, right? So to a great extent, it is like hiring a brain surgeon. So what you want are people who have experience that has seen that before, that has fixed that before, or has talked to a colleague in the company and the company has fixed that before. You don't necessarily want somebody that is right out of college that has no experience. Now, I agree. Those folks need training too. And I understand it. And you can train them up, but that doesn't mean they're customer facing and it doesn't mean they're the problem solver. But and one problem solver and a whole bunch of novices is the same as a whole bunch of novices. You need people that have the expertise to see the real problem, right? It's like the TV show here in the U.S. is House. It's about a surgeon, right? And that's what we're dealing with. Somebody that can look and say, rerun the test, do this, do that. That's wrong, right? If you were to hire an SEO company yourself, put yourself, I'm a chief marketing officer somewhere, I'm hiring an SEO company. What you're going to care about mostly is that they can help you.
Right.
And not that they could help you eventually, right? You don't have time to do it over. That's a big
Right.
problem with people. You
Right.
know, this is a competitive, real-time competitive environment.
Right.
If it takes me a month to do it and it's wrong, it costs me money.
Right. Right.
So you really kind of need an expert to
Right.
shortcut and circumvent the how long it takes to solve a problem issue. And I think that's a big deal.
Now, how do you ensure your team at Bruce Clay INC stays ahead in such a fast moving field?
Well, I spend about 2 hours a day staying up on it. I forward articles and videos to my staff. They take
Okay.
my training every year. We have every other week a think tank where we get to sit down and go over all the things that have changed.
Okay.
Every week I go over every project. And then we periodically have what we call an all eyes review, where we'll have the analysts sit there and analyze each other's projects.
Okay.
Right? So by the time you do all that, I mean, it takes a lot of time as background work, but that's how you stay current.
Okay.
You don't really have a choice.
So with that, we came almost, overshot our time, but we came towards the end of our segment, which we will be talking about SEO tools, workflow, and future skills. So let's geek out a bit. Now, what's one underrated SEO tool or platform your team uses that makes a big difference?
I don't know. Unrelated would be the right. I mean, we have about 60 tools that we subscribe to.
Okay.
If it's a tool, I subscribe to it. And it may be that we don't need it, or it only does one thing, but I still want to know what it is. So I have a lot of tools. And I mean, the big one, we use Ahrefs a lot. Right? We use all the Google tools a lot.
Okay.
As upsetting as that might be, we use a lot of the Google stuff. You know, it's interesting. Zoom is a very big part of communication. And communication is a good third of client satisfaction.
Right.
I mean, we have found that you could be the most technical person in the whole world, but if you cannot communicate with the customer, you lose. And so we have Zoom and upgraded Zoom. We have all the Google products. BruceClay.com emails go through Gmail. So BruceClay.com, but we're using all the kinds of technology. We're tracking things in HubSpot. We're doing real business things. You deal with a public company, they kind of expect that. Basecamp, we're using Basecamp. And there's a lot of things that might be better. We tried Monday and didn't like it. I mean, there's different things that you can do. But it depends on the business and the people. Right. I find that being very technical, everybody here is pretty technical, that sometimes you do have to bring in an intern and train them up. But for the most part, when the client asks a question, they expect an answer. So training is really key. If you haven't trained your staff, you lose.
Right. Now, what skill you believe every SEO will need to master in the next 3 years?
Well, they will need to know how to do prompts for AI. Even if you have AI tools everywhere and they're doing things for you, multi-step processing. I have one, our biggest page creator script is 152 steps. Nobody could sit there and type those in, right? So you would use the tool to do that, right? Take 20 minutes, but you would use the tool for doing that. But you still need to know how to manipulate output, right? I would like the top 10 search results. Each one lists the top 5 keywords. Give me the most common keyword across all of the top 10. Then give me a definition for each and let me know how to write it into a title tag. You know, that's one little application. You're not likely to find a tool to do that. So they're going to have to know how to do that. Right. So I think that every SEO is going to have to be aware of how to do AI prompting and how to code it. Now, there's a lot of different ways to do it. One of the things I think is going to be a disturbance in the force is AI mode and the level of personalization that it requires.
Yes.
We've already solved the personalization problem with one of our internal scripts. And the AI, I want to wait a little bit. I think we have an answer, but I want to wait and see what it really looks like in the wild. Right? Because after the I/O conference, Google had an internal meeting where a lot of SEOs got together physically at the location. And it turned out that there were so many questions that came out of it that Google hadn't even thought about. So what really sees the light of day is going to be different, I expect. Maybe better, maybe not. But AI mode, we got to solve. Personalization has to be solved. We did it. But I can write a blog post and put an FAQ on my blog post. And I do. And our FAQ is one big FAQ. I mean, it's like 4 paragraphs. It answers the question, what is it? And then gives you some steps to solve it. Within 2 days of me posting a blog post, if you went down and copied the FAQ question, just copy the question of the FAQ and do a Google search, I'm in AIO and featured snippet in over half of them in 2 days. And you can go down my entire blog page and all of them show up that way. Now we're doing that and we're applying it to personalization and SERP visibility and all the things that we're working on. We're going to do the same thing. And yeah, it's going to be an interesting time.
Right. I'd say just like old times. Yes. Now, my last question is for agency owners and marketers listening today, what's the single most important mindset or skill they should develop to thrive in the next, let's say, 5 years or 10 years?
Well, other than as I mentioned, everybody has to become familiar with AI prompts. I think that the entire concept of where it's going, there's going to be voice search. There's going to be more the Star Trek computer kind of a thing. We're going to find that what we're used to as search, which is on a computer, right? Maybe on a phone, but it's on a computer. That's going to be on other devices. I mean, my TV will do it. My coffee pot will do it. I mean, you're going to find that recipes are all over the kitchen. Any device can answer a question, right? We already know that there's a lot of, anywhere approaches that can be taken. The my car has a navigation system, but it's pretty primitive compared to what it will be in 5 years. I think ordering things and having it show up, Amazon is amazing. I can order anything and it shows up the next morning. And when you start doing that, and then you can say to Amazon, I have this problem. What is the best solution? And it says, here's your 3 best solutions, and you can pick from it. I mean, you know, in the old days, you would type a word into Google and get 10 links, and then you'd have to type in a different one and get 10 links, and it would take you all day to figure something out. Now it's going to just happen. But here's the thing. If you believe that we're going to be doing a lot more voice, which I believe. If you believe, by the way, that we're going to be doing a lot more pretty creative videos, which we will. If you believe that, your product name better be easily said, right? And if you do a voice search for your product name and you can't find it, you got a problem. Right? And there's a lot of words that are difficult to pronounce or aren't clear or have a lot of synonyms. And we're going to have to understand that the search engine that we're used to is going away. It's going to be an answer engine. And that's its goal. And we have to have our company, our materials, our website. I'll tell you this right now. Clients, when I talk to clients and I say your website is going to have to be totally redone at a technology level within 2 years, they look at me like I'm crazy. They have so much money invested in their website, they don't want to redo it. They can't afford to redo it. Right? And I think that is going to be where we run as an industry, as an agency structure. All agencies are going to run into that, where to do it right, you have to re-engineer this. And they're not going to like that idea.
Okay. With that now, so where can people follow your work and what's coming up next for Bruce Clay, INC?
Okay, so we are just about to release an actual application approach to the SERP Anywhere, which is really that overall structure, now that we know how to do it. And Pre-Writer is improving. We do a release every 2 weeks. And it's still available with the 20 free tokens for people to try. So prewriter.ai, it changes daily. I create 2 or 3 scripts a week, solutions to a problem. I take a problem and I make a solution. And so that is there. I think those 2 things are going to be very, very large. I'm working on a re-release of our tools. Our training, I'm going to tell you, my online training, one of the problems that we faced is that it took so long because we had to get me in front of a green screen to re-record that. We couldn't change it fast enough because, as you know, everything's changing like daily. So what we did is the instructor for my entire online course is my avatar.
Oh, just like Hagen? Okay.
Just like. And so that avatar is actually teaching my online course, which is, of course, slides that I use in the classroom when I do the classroom course. The difference is The online course doesn't tell my jokes. They don't see some of my videos, and it's a different environment.
Right.
And within a week, I think we're going to be putting up our certification course, our exam.
Okay.
It's a little hard. It's over 1,800 questions.
Wow.
We select 100 randomly.
Okay.
It resorts the answers and everything, and then you have 1 hour to take 100 questions. And if you pass it, then you can be certified for 6 months.
Okay.
And then you retake it. But by then you should know it. So we're having a certification release coming up. Lots of fun stuff. Lots of fun stuff.
Okay. Bruce, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and stories with us. And it's been an absolute privilege to our listeners as well as to me. And if you have enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, share, and leave us a review. And once again, thank you, Bruce, for giving your valuable time. And to our listeners, this is Agency Insider Show. See you next time. Thank you.